Matthew 16. Jesus and his disciples are almost off the grid. They're at Caesarea Philippi. Today it's known as Banias. The standard way to delineate ancient Israel, like Land's End to John O'Groats, was Beersheba to Tel Dan. Jesus and his band of friends are way up north, at the top of the Golan Heights. They're about 5 kilometres beyond Tel Dan, deep in the foothills of Mount Hermon. At the time, Caesarea Philippi was a considerable visitor site. It had a grotto, gift shops, associated paraphernalia. But its principal attraction, in a hot, arid, thirsty land, was cold fresh water. At Banias, seismic movements have cracked open the hillside, and one of the sources of the Jordan, clean and cold, sometimes freshly iced from snowmelt, bursts out of the rock at 20 cubic metres a second. Banias has always been a key strategic place. This commanding location gave its occupier control of all the land. It still does. In 200 BC, the Seleucids fought a battle here and gained control of all Palestine. In 1967, Israel militarized the Golan Heights with the same result. In the 12th century, Banias was the mountain hideaway of a fanatical terrorist cell called Assassins. That's where the word comes from. The locals called their town Banias after the god Pan, with his cave above the spring. It controlled the whole route from Damascus to the sea. In 1218, the Ayyubid Sultan Sharaf ad-Din al-Mu'azzam Isa, nephew of Saladin, took over from his recently deceased father the governorship of Damascus. Next year, he reduced Banias to a fortified village, moving its military centre to a new and mighty fortress nearby, Qalat Nimrud, finished after his death in 1228. At the time the Israeli army captured the Golan Heights from Syria in 1967, Banias had just over 200 inhabitants. Its constant attraction, its great feature, continues to be cold, fresh water. So Jesus and his disciples come up here. We can guess for a cool drink and some rest, after hot and frantic months on the road, hemmed in by masses of people. Everybody's talking about Jesus, but here, far from the madding crowd, in a key strategic location, he asks them the key strategic questions. Who do people say that I am? Oh, say the disciples, turning to the more polite options. Some are saying Elijah, some John the Baptist, perhaps even Jeremiah, you know. Nobody, incidentally, thinks Jesus is just a very nice man. People who have actually met him take much more polarized points of view. Some are downright rude. His family thinks he's mad. The scribes and Pharisees think he's evil, driving out devils by the prince of devils, and they're actively out to get him already. Herod, the local ruler, says he's John the Baptist, come back from the dead after he thought he'd taken him out. The ordinary people say he's a prophet or a healer, a teacher, a rabbi. All right, says Jesus, that's them. And then he turns to the people who are supposed to know him best, his companions on the road. How about you? Who do you say that I am? Embarrassed silence follows, broken eventually by the man with a big mouth. You are the Christ, the Son of the Blessed, blurts out Peter. Powerful words. Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonas. Let this moment stand as the keys to the kingdom of heaven. The way in, the only way to open the door on what's really going on here. St. Paul was to say years later, nobody can say Jesus is Lord except by the Holy Spirit. Peter's confession of faith is the root of the creeds we say in church today. So in that spirit, who do we say Jesus is? More perhaps than an idea or a mere figure of history or a mascot or a hobby for Sunday mornings. This line of questioning takes us way beyond patronising, anemic, weedy answers like a generally nice man or interesting museum piece. These just don't stand up to the reality of the man as people experienced him. So here's today's key question for us to ponder. Who do we really believe Jesus is? How far can we open our hearts and minds and imaginations to who he might be? Fully divine, fully human, not one or the other, more but at the same time less than a superhero, not a hybrid centaur or Batman, but the human face of God. What people who explore this find is the more Jesus becomes real, the more the door opens and he becomes our hope and peace, our wisdom, our inspiration, the key who opens up everything for us. So who do we really believe Jesus is? And what are we doing about it? Over to you.